Hi, welcome. Faith here. So, have you ever been in a relationship or in a situation where you feel like you're with somebody and you feel drained, you feel weird. This is how and this is when I come in with my topic of today. How do you know you're in a toxic relationship? Red flags to watch out for in a relationship. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Love Scope Faith here. Welcome back. Love Scope here. So, what to watch out for in a toxic red flags in a relationship where a relationship that makes you feel really funny, not good about yourself, you're just not happy. And this is a thing when I thought about this topic, why I thought about have you ever been, when you're in a relationship that is toxic or you're in a relationship that you're unhappy, it's like a prison sentence, a jail sentence that you're dying emotionally slowly. Slowly, you're just dying and you don't know how to get away from it. So if you're trying to get married or you want to get married or you're in a relationship, you're thinking if you're a guy, I want to propose to this woman, but you have doubts or you're thinking, am I making the right decision? Because these decisions, you have to stay and live with them. These are some of the signs to watch out for before you commit to a serious relationship or before you make a mistake. Or, sometimes you have also girlfriends that are your friends, but they're toxic. In a relationship, one of the signs, it can be both a man or a woman, they're excessively jealous. They're excessively jealous. Do you know what I mean? They're choking you with their jealousy. There's an unhealthy kind of jealousy. They can constantly call you in an hour, almost like 10 or 20 times. Where are you? What are you doing? Where have you been? I've been looking for you. That kind of constantly jealousy that you can't breathe because they want to know your every move. And nowadays with phones, somebody can almost track you with where you are, what are you doing, where did you go? You feel trapped in that kind of situation. That's unhealthy. That one that they are, that if you're doing something or you're talking to somebody, they want to know who was that, who is that, how come I don't know them. You know what I mean? This is not healthy. There's this, don't confuse me and don't misquote me. There's normal questioning that if you're inappropriate, somebody, your partner can ask you, so who are you talking with? That's different. But there's this one, if you're talking with if you're a guy, you're talking with a woman, the woman is jealous even before knowing, is it your sister? Is it your colleague? They're just too jealous. They are ready to fight. They're just unreasonable. This one is unhealthy. Don't propose. Just walk away from the relationship if they are because it can lead to violence in some point. But sometimes people think, oh, they're jealous, it's cute. It's not cute when they're calling you in an hour of 10 times to ask you where you are, what are you doing, how come you're, not picking up your phone. That's not healthy. Another thing, they are defensive. They are quick, too defensive in a situation. Maybe you're talking and you just ask a general question. Maybe you ask something happened and they are quick to be so defensive and turn the tables around on you. Like something small, they make it to be such a big mountain and make it, they're always too defensive. This is not healthy at all. At all. I really have a passion about, because really when you're in a relationship that especially if you get into a marriage and and a marriage is like they say, for better for worse, and people will tell you, oh, you're in a marriage, but it's like you're in a prison if it's unhealthy. I'm not saying marriages are unhealthy. I mean, if you're in a toxic relationship that becomes you almost give yourself a death sentence of emotional, psychological abuse. This one that somebody, the first, like when I tell you that they are excessively jealous, and then you come, they are over defensive, everything, they are just on the defense. They can never just accept and own something that they have done. They just have to, oh, they have a reason. They have, this one is about, I have two colleagues of mine at my work. It's also a relationship, it's my work relationship. And when they are caught, if they do so, even no matter how small the thing is, they can never say, I messed up, I did wrong, sorry. They are always on the defense with an excuse why or why. Never can they say, I'm wrong. So if you're in this kind of a relationship, the person is never wrong. I'm telling the whole world is wrong, but them, they're never wrong. This is a red sign. It's toxic. Another one that I feel is a red sign, and it's a it's a bad toxic relationship, that it's unhealthy. Again, the prison where you feel like, you know what a prison is, but now you're in an emotional prison where you feel trapped. Because most, I realized some people are in relationship where they feel so trapped and they don't know what to do, and because society expects you, especially a society. I'm very religious. I'm a Christian. So with a Christian society, when you get married, divorce, it's heard of, but it's almost a taboo. It's almost, people tell you to persevere, hang in there, but they don't know what you're going through. And that's why you have to see the red signs. You have to see all the signs before you make such a drastic big decision of I do. Or if you're in your friends and they're so toxic around you, they don't support you, they are not supportive when you're going through a hard time, they're emotionally unavailable. They are not available. They run away from hard situations. They can't deal. Like, it's your thing, deal with it. Because in life, we all go through hard stuff. You go through times when you have an emotional breakdown, not an emotional breakdown, but sometimes you have difficulty. I'll give an example. Me with my examples. You have a time, for example, maybe you lose a loved one, or your work is not going well or something, and you're really struggling with that. So you go to your partner or to your friends and you want to talk about them. But somebody who is a bit toxic, or not a bit, just toxic, or not, they're not supportive. They are not just hearing what you're going through. They want you to get over it. But it helps to talk. It helps to talk about what you're going through. If, for example, you lost a loved one, you want to talk about it because the feelings are pain, but this person is just not emotionally available. And also, this kind of person, you see, they don't have friends around them. They don't have many friends. And mostly, they don't also have good relationship with their family members, or they just don't get along. And it's always the other person's fault. Not Don't take one of these points that I've made and say that it's a toxic relationship, all of them. But somebody who you go to them, or you're feeling sad because you lost I'll say your dad, because I've lost my dad. And you're trying to tell somebody who happens to say they love you, your partner, and they're just tuning you out, dismissing your feelings, dismissing what you're going through. They want you to get over it already. That's not healthy at all. Or another, in this also, emotionally unavailable. There, for example, you got a promotion at work, or you have something that is to celebrate. And you're like, oh, yay! And you run to them, you want to tell them, guess what? I got promoted at work. You'd expect them to be your biggest cheerleader, but they kind of blow it off. Like it's not a big deal, because they have their own insecurities. So they think when you grow, it makes them small, or you have also friends. This one, women. I don't know guys, because I'm not a guy, so I cannot speak for guys. But women, sometimes when you have friends that are your friends, I'll do like this because then they are not your friends. When you're celebrating really good things, really something that you really want, and your friends know it, for example, oh, you go to them, guess what? Maybe you've been trying to get pregnant for very long, and you tell, oh, guess what? I'm pregnant. And your girlfriends, they blow it off like it's not a big deal, like, and they know because women talk a lot about what's going on within you. So you're telling them, and they're blowing off this big news that you've given them. Or another one, women women we like, when a girl or a woman is getting married and they're engaged, we make it a big deal. It's a big deal. So you go to your friends after the guy is engaged, guess what, I'm engaged. And they want to, and but you have this friend that they're not celebrating it. They're trying to show you all the reasons why it's not a good thing, or making that conversation more about them. This is not healthy at all. It's just not healthy. They don't celebrate you. That's what I'm trying to drive, that point, that they don't celebrate your yay moments, your good moments, and they're not also there for you in your bad moments. That's not a healthy relationship. I'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still on the topic of a toxic and healthy relationship. Another one, when you're in an toxic relationship, unhealthy, because this kind of relationships, I'm now going out of my topic, but it's in my topic somehow. If you don't pay attention to these signs and you just ignore them, these are the signs that can lead to an abusive relationship in future. Then you are in such an abusive relationship, again, to that emotional prison. And those are the what, those are very bad relationships. Those are relationships that kill your soul. They kill you. And the outside world, everybody will be telling you you'll get over it. There's this one movie I watched, but it was based on reality, on a true story. So there were two ladies, and one of the ladies, beautiful lady, was dating a guy, and he was wealthy, and he was providing. He like ticked in outside world all the boxes of this perfect gentleman, but behind closed doors he was horrible. He would snap at the lady at everything in the house, because he said she was walking on eggshells in her home. She was in that emotional prison that I'm talking about. And one of this that was horrible. She was dying really slowly, and she'd say this started when they were dating. In the movie, they started with these signs that I'm saying, and then it escalated to abuse. And every time she would say he would change, but this kind of people don't change. This is why I tell you, when you're in such a relationship, take care and just walk away. Don't think they'll change, but not one of these things. First, in every situation, when you find maybe I've mentioned something and it has bells in your head, and you're thinking your partner meets to this category, talk about it, address these issues. Say, you know what, one of the topics, like now I want to say, is they when they have a lack of communication, is unhelp they have a poor lack of good communication. They are passive aggressive, or they are aggressive with their words. They have to shout, or sometimes we scream and shout when you're in a relationship. That's normal. That's not unhealthy. But there's another one that they just shouting for everything. In case one of my examples, you've cooked, and you've put too much salt in the food, you messed up. It can happen. These things happen. And instead of the person just addressing that, oh, the food is salty, they snap and almost want to throw the food on you. That's not healthy. That's what I mean. When they take it to overboard, or you're in a restaurant or somewhere, and maybe somebody has the people who have some weird kind of these red flags, they have some arrogance in them, they belittle people a lot. So maybe mistakenly somebody pours or splashes wine on them or water, they can give you one hot slap. For their reaction is so dramatic. It's not funny. These are signs you should know they're not a good person, because their reaction to such a small thing is so big. That is toxic. And another, one of the things that is also major, they're unwilling to compromise. They sometimes you don't compromise in some things, but if you're in a relationship, maybe with your girlfriends or with your partner, you know, or with your husband or with your wife, you make a bit of compromise. Like there are small compromises. I remember the first time when I was with my husband, when he would always leave the toilet seat opened. So it used to irritate me. I used to not understand why. Can't you just put the toilet seat down, not the lid? The lid does not bother me. The one that we women, we like to sit on the toilet seat. But men, for some reason, they like to not, when they are peeing, to open. It would irritate me. But then I learned it's just a toilet seat. I can just put it down. The first time I would go say, just put the toilet. It really used to annoy me. And then I thought, Faith, get over it. It's just a toilet seat, that compromise. I learned, is it really worth making me angry? So if somebody is not willing to compromise about anything, they feel like their world has crashed. If I blew that thing of the toilet seat out of proportion and I make it such a big deal and a big deal, it's not healthy. Everything becomes, or for example, I'm not big, I'm clean, neat in my house, but I'm not that neat that I can't function. That if I'm drinking a glass of water, I have to put something on the table so that it can't make my table messed up. Or if I like coffee. If I take my cup of coffee, I can put it in the sink, the cup, and I'll wash it. Not the next day, but I'll wash it. But I don't have to wash the cup that same time. But we have people who you have to wash that cup that same time and put it in the drawer. If you don't, it's like the end of the world. They don't have, they are aggressive in some things that you'd feel like, am I a prison in my own house? Am I making any sense? This is not healthy. And it gets worse. It really gets, so you have to see these signs and don't tolerate them and think that the person is going to change. They will not change. They will become worse. And when it becomes worse, it leads to very, like, aggression, to domestic abuse, such things. So you have to avoid all these things when you see the signs. And most people always say, when you ask them, when you see somebody's in an abusive relationship, you ask them, didn't you see the signs? Most people say, I saw the signs, but I thought he will change, or I thought she would change. I'm not only saying about guys, because we have women who are also very toxic. They can be very damaging and toxic. But people tend to, because you're in love and you're afraid to be alone. You're afraid of what society will say, and you tend to push away what you're seeing. What you're seeing is unhealthy. So, when somebody is absolutely unwilling to compromise, they have no word of compromise. Another one is, welcome back. Today I'm not all smiley because I'm talking about a serious relationship, a serious issue with relationships that is toxic. And one of them, they're critical. This is my last one, my last but not least. I can almost say another one, but they're extremely critical of you. There's nothing that you do good. Or this also covers this. They are too critical of you. Maybe you're hot, you're beautiful. Not maybe you're beautiful, or you're a handsome guy. And this person knows the other world, outside the world, everybody also sees that beauty that you have. So what does the person who is toxic, they try to take that to break your self-esteem, to make you feel less confident. So they'll say funny things about you. Oh, maybe you're looking too fat. Because women, sometimes we feel we are a bit insecure about our weight. Women, we have sometimes when you're thin, you want to be a little bit fat. When you're fat, you want to be thin. And I'm not body shaming anybody. I'm just trying to make a point. So listen to the point. The point is, then your partner they want to almost body shame you. Maybe you have calves and you are confident with this, your shape, but they try to make you feel like, oh, you're lucky you have me, because nobody will date you. They belittle you. And then when you take it seriously or you address it, they say, oh, I was just joking. But they've already, it's like they're putting a hammer in your self-esteem. Every time they tell you something critical about you, or try to change. Somebody, when you're dating, you met and you married, and he met you, you were having a weave, you were all dolled up, and that's what attracted him to you. And for the ladies, the guy was hot, he had his six-pack, and then that same person that liked that attractionness now tries to take it slowly by slowly, say, you know what, I like you with short hair. Oh, but they are, for their insecurity in their head, trying to make you the opposite of who you are, trying to make you unattractive so that the world cannot see that beautiful or handsome self. And they pick on you, so they belittle you. And the more they belittle you, please subscribe, share, and like. Your self-esteem becomes very little. You start to feel like you're less of a person, you're less worth, that you're lucky they're dating you, that you're lucky you're married to them, because they're playing these sick games with you. But you have to relax and know this is toxic. When you ask yourself, when you've been hanging around somebody, but every time you go back, you feel really your energy is drained, you feel so much negative because they are so negative. Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Because life is about joy. You're supposed to feel happy. We are about love. You're supposed to be feeling love. And love gets sometimes messy, but not dangerous, not toxic, it doesn't destroy you, it builds you, it makes you a better person, it makes you see life in a very good light. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to the next episode. Remember to subscribe, and for those who have subscribed, I truly appreciate you. Thank you for watching Love Scope. Bye.